That whole scene, take one.
There we go.
Here we are. Welcome to the Drummergy Podcast, episode 172. And I'm your host, Fred Rockfisher. And today I am here with Jeremy Steinkoler, all the way from San Francisco, the Bay Area. And he is a drummer, an educator, and an author, and also a podcast host. And I'm excited that he's here. So, Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Fred. I'm excited to be here.
I meant to have this ready to go. This, where is it? Little applause going. So
that sounded like that was from one of my live shows.
Hey, yeah. It was. I went on YouTube and I found it.
Yeah, right.
Evelyn is here, my student. Evelyn, good morning, Evelyn. She says hi.
Hi, Evelyn. Good morning.
Big rock show on Saturday night.
Cool. Congrats.
She's out there killing it. She did a drum video or a drum cover video in December, and this band saw it and said, we need to have her in our band.
Oh, I love it. That's
so
great.
There she is. Now she walks in the door with cash. She's like, here's my tuition from playing gigs. So there you go. The Drummergy Podcast is sponsored by 12th Fret Music, located at 671 South Capitol Boulevard in downtown Boise, Idaho. And we want to thank them for sponsoring the show. Now, Jeremy, I always start off the show with goofy holidays of the day. Mm-hmm. Are you ready? Are you got your seatbelts on?
Go for it.
Okay, it's National Crayon Day. So, do you draw or color? I
don't. My wife is a graphic designer, though.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, so she draws in colors all the time.
It is also National Tater Day. It is also National Bunsen Burner Day. Did you mess around with the Bunsen burners when you were in school in science class?
Yeah, chemistry. I remember. Uh-huh.
Yes.
That's most of what I remember from chemistry.
I think that's the case for all of us.
Yeah.
I have a student. Her name is Kim, and she's a science teacher, and she comes in and she starts sometimes sharing the dangerous parts of doing science in school. And I said, I don't know if it was alcohol, but whatever you fill those things up for the fuel to burn in them. Mm-hmm. I remember being like in junior high, and we would pour a trail of that down one side of the room when the teacher wasn't looking, and light it on fire and watch this trail.
It's a different era.
Yeah. We'd need to get expelled for that now.
Exactly.
We got Jim Reidenbaugh here. Good morning, Jim. Thomas Schuster. All students willing to hang out. So, Jeremy, you are a podcast host yourself for the Drummers Education Connection. That also happens on Tuesday. And I asked you, I said, are you going to be on today? And you're like, no, I've just limited to one podcast per day. So first of all, thanks for choosing me.
I like your podcast better than ours anyway.
And I've been on your show like 16 or 17 times. And I'm like, man, I got to get Jeremy on here.
Yeah.
I got to get you on. So here we are.
Any chance to talk about me, I'm happy to oblige.
Dude, we get along so well.
Yeah.
Just enough about me. Let's talk about me.
Well, what do you think about me? Exactly.
So, Jeremy, what have you been up to lately in the world of drumming and music?
My schedule is a pretty busy one in general. I teach about 20 hours a week of private lessons. I play in 5 different bands, and then sometimes get calls for other projects that are just kind of one-offs. And I also run a program called Bandworks, which I started back in 1993 with a friend of mine who's a guitar teacher. And Bandworks is like basically a school of rock and roll kind of program. So we have classes for adults and kids, and we have workshops that run all year long. And, you sign up for a band, you get placed with other people, and we give you one of our teachers who coaches you for 8 weeks, and then you play a show at a local venue at the end of 8 weeks. And then we do have summer camps for kids during the summer as well. So those are my 3 things: gigging, teaching, and running Bandworks.
Wow. Well, we have a similar schedule, except I'm not running a music school, just a drum studio.
Yeah, kind of similar, right? Oh, and I have a drum studio business too. Aside from my own teaching practice, there's a studio where a couple of other teachers work for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You as all of us know, we get kind of used to juggling that much stuff. Is it chaotic or is it pretty organized and
Not anymore. I mean, Bandworks we have a guy who runs the day-to-day operations. So I really have been able to back off of that for the last few years, and just do sort of, when fires happen, help, come put them out, and big strategic decision stuff. But I'm not involved in the day-to-day running of it anymore. And I don't even teach classes anymore either. For years, it was just me and my buddy Steve teaching all the classes, running, sweeping the floors, everything. And now it doesn't take as much time. So, actually, I feel like now I've kind of got this nice balance going where I can take the gigs I want to take. I don't have to take the gigs I'm not as interested in. I love teaching still. So, my wife asked me the other day, like if I could retire tomorrow, if I had $1 million or whatever, what would I want to do? And I thought, yeah, kind of mostly the same stuff, So that's I feel blessed, that I get to do what I love to do, and yeah,
same. I think the producer's here.
I'm here. Hello.
Hi, Mary.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Jeremy was saying he forgot to get his coffee.
Oh no.
I wish I could just hand him a cup right
here. The truth is I'm not really a coffee drinker, believe it or not.
Oh, there you go.
I know. I'm an
Do you
anomaly.
drink anything in the morning besides water?
It's just water, really. I know it's crazy. I know.
That's all right.
Man, I've been drinking coffee so long, I don't like removing that out of my life. I don't know what that would be like. Did you come to a point, did you ever drink coffee?
No.
Wow.
You know why? I'll tell you why. When I was
let's
10,
find out.
When I was 10, I was at some dinner thing with my parents, and I'd never had coffee, and my mom asked me to try her coffee, and it was Sanka. So that was my experience.
Is Sanka the stuff like the crystals that you just stir up?
Yeah, I think so. It's really bad. It's awful. And I was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. Why would anybody ever drink coffee?
Yeah.
And then, I've tried it since, and it doesn't offend me like it did then, but it's just never something I acquired a taste for. I know that.
Yeah. I never liked coffee, but I liked the smell of it.
Me too.
I loved going into a coffee shop. I was like, oh, it smells so good. I wish I liked the taste of coffee.
Yeah.
And then, one day when Fred and I went up to, and I don't know if we were still dating or if we were just newly married, but we had driven up to Lewiston, which is
North Idaho.
Yeah, I don't know, 4.5, 5 hours north from here, and to visit some friends that were traveling through playing. And they played until I don't know, 3 a.m. or something just insane. They just had this long set. And we were trying everything to stay awake, and Coke after Coke. Well, okay, let's stop drinking Coke. Let's drink Diet Coke so we don't get the sugar. And nothing was working. We were getting so tired, and we wanted to hang out with them afterwards. And so we decided we would try coffee.
Yeah.
And because we were that desperate, because he didn't drink coffee either. Neither one of us liked it. And for whatever reason, that pot of coffee was like liquid gold. It tasted so good. We couldn't get enough of it.
That was the gateway.
That was the gateway. Some little dive bar in Lewiston, Idaho got us hooked.
That's funny.
Yeah. I don't drink much of it anymore. I'm supposed to not be drinking caffeine at all because of my voice, and especially coffee.
Your voice sounds great.
Oh, it's really trashed. I've got a weird problem with it that is a result of apparently years of acid reflux, silent reflux that I didn't know I had.
Oh, that's a bummer.
So, yeah. And so it's been kind of trashing where if your vocal cords make a V, it's the top of the V, there's this kind of rainbow of tissue that goes from side to side, and it's swollen, and it's going to take a long time to get that unswollen. So
gotcha.
You're on your way.
I'm trying. I'll have days that are better than others. And so it's when I have the bad days, and it's really discouraging.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well,
hopefully it'll get better.
I'm glad you're here to help move the show along, Mary, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So Jeremy was telling us before you got in here about his school called Bandworks, which is kind of like the School of Rock, I guess, in a way. Did you say, Jeremy, that it's an 8-week program?
Yeah. You sign up for an 8-week program. We take kids and adults, and you get placed in a band with other people that play complementary instruments. So, Fred, if you signed up to play drums, we would find you a band of really, really good players who also play bass and keys and guitar and sing, and line up with your availability. And then we give you one of our coaches, our teachers, who works with you for 8 weeks, and then you play a show at a local venue.
So is it for beginners, or is it all?
It's the whole range. So you'll see bands that have been playing, with musicians who've been playing like maybe a year, and then you'll see bands that sound like they're professional.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And
it's really cool.
8 weeks long.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay to ask what that costs to do for 8 weeks?
Sure, of course. I mean, it's that if you want to sign up, it's all on the website. It's all public information.
Okay.
It's $500 for 8 weeks.
Wow, that's not bad.
Yeah, and you get a fully equipped rehearsal studio. So you walk in, the drums are there, the PA, everything, music stands, guitar amps, and then the venue, is totally pro, decked out spot.
And your and so how long? What's the format? Like, how long are you in your class or whatever?
2 hours.
2 hours. Is that weekly or daily or
once a week for 8 weeks? 2-hour rehearsals and then the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It's cool. We have a really dedicated community. Like the people that we call ourselves for very little profit. It sounds like, what? How can you not be making money with it costs this much money? But there's massive overhead. We pay our teachers. We pay our teachers really well. We have the studios and insurance and all this stuff. And
people always forget there's costs.
Yeah, but it's fine. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and it serves the community. And we have every quarter. We do 4 times a year, and then we do summer camps for kids. And each quarter we have we're up to around 35, sometimes up to 40 bands.
Wow.
So we have 4 different concerts to accommodate all those bands.
Wow.
Yeah. So the kids do one at their thing, and then the adults do one at a club that's 21 and over.
That's a big kind of leaning towards a labor of love.
It's mostly a labor of love, but there's lots of love in it. And the labor, at this point, the labor mostly I've been able to push off to other people who we pay to do the labor, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And does this run every 8 weeks, or is it like?
It's like 8 weeks on, then a week or 2 off in between to sort of reassemble the bands, and many bands return, and then sometimes bands will break apart, but we'll add a guitar player or what have you, and then sometimes we'll put new bands together.
Oh wow!
So it's like we do it 4 sessions. And then we're off for 3 months during the summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And where is this? I can't remember where you're located.
That's okay. I'm in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
So our studios are in Oakland and San Rafael, which is both right near San Francisco.
Okay.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's get into so did you grow up playing music in school and stuff, or did you get started before that? And if I remember right, you're from the East Coast originally, aren't you?
That's correct. Yeah, I grew up in Manhattan, in New York City.
Wow.
Yeah.
I used to live in New York when I was little.
Oh, really?
I lived in Ossining. It was just
okay, upstate. Yeah. We don't call that New York, but
it's not too far upstate. It's just
I'm just teasing. Anything that's not in the 5 boroughs is like a different country.
Oh, right. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
I'm teasing you.
Yeah, I lived I think I was in walking distance of Sing Sing prison.
Oh, wow.
We lived to it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I grew up in New York City, and I did music in school, mostly in high school. I started playing drums when I was 10. And sort of wasn't really serious about it until high school. But then I was really serious about it.
Yeah.
Once you got into high school, you got serious about it? Or was it?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Well, I would think being in Manhattan, the culture of just that alone is so drastically different than being in Nashville or Chicago or Los Angeles or San Francisco, where you are now. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't know any different. That was normal to me, right?
Yeah.
So I grew up in an apartment building, and I was fortunate enough that when my parents finally relented and bought me a drum set, that my neighbors were cool with it. That was kind of the most incredible part. But yeah, that was just normal to me. And then I left and went to college in Michigan, and then after that moved right out to California.
Oh, wow. So just right from, so did you move to California because of music?
No, well, partially, but not exactly. I had a girlfriend who had graduated a year before me and then moved to California, and I had come up to visit, and I was like, oh my God, this place is awesome. I'd never been to San Francisco. And there was all different stuff happening, lots of music, big, heavy music scene with all different styles going on. And I think I remember at the time, I wasn't even sure that I was going to do music. It was like music or photography or writing. Those were the three things that were interesting to me. And
like writing books?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. So when I finally wrote my book, it was kind of a full circle thing for me. But that was like 30 years later, or 20. So, but anyways, I was leaning more and more toward music. When I was in college, I actually filled out the application to switch to music school, and didn't go. I never sent it. Like I had it filled out and ready to send to Manhattan School of Music to apply for the jazz program there. And I decided I should just get a degree. You never know where life's going to lead. I can always go back to music school later if I want to.
Right.
I don't necessarily need a degree if I want to play professionally. And that turned out to be the way it went.
Wow.
Fred, we can barely hear you.
Really?
Yeah.
My mic is turned way up.
I can hear you okay.
Jeremy can hear me okay.
I can barely hear you. And James Harrison said, turn up your mic.
Well, we're crying out loud.
We'll do anything for James.
Here we go. How about that? Testing one. This is mic number one. Okay. Isn't this a lot of fun?
That's a little better, yeah. Just make sure you're like facing it. And then
Amy says she can hear me.
Oh.
Amy, I haven't seen or heard from you in a million years. I hope you're doing great.
You just got quiet again. I think you're getting too far away.
I'm like right here.
I don't know. Maybe there's something weird's going on.
Yeah, maybe it's you and James.
Like I can barely hear you right now. That's really, maybe check your cable or something.
My cable's good. Check your cable.
Check yourself, bruh. It's like sometimes you're okay, and then other times you're like so quiet, like you're talking to the drum behind you or something.
Well, I could talk louder.
That's better, what you're doing just now.
It is? Yes. I just talked louder.
Oh, well, I'll do that.
Let's hear more of me. Wow. Okay.
Sorry. Does that make him super loud for you, Jeremy? Sorry.
No, he's perfect.
Okay.
Amy, my coffee is right here. And we're full of the Drummergy logo on everything, right? So we got sidetracked with the technical stuff as usual.
Well, yeah, we're supposed to. That's how that works.
So Jeremy went to California, followed a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
the girl didn't work out, but the music did.
Man.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I mean, I got other girls worked out. Let's put it that way.
When now I have this perception of you that you're a jazz guy. Is that a fair assessment?
It's funny you say that because the guys on deck, the podcast that I do, also have that perception of me, but that's really because they're strictly rock guys.
Okay.
The truth is I play everything. So I played in rock bands a ton. I play in jazz bands all the time, jazz groups, and I do more jazz playing than rock playing now, that's for sure. But like I play in a New Orleans. So I mentioned earlier, I have 5 projects going currently.
Yeah.
5 main ones. And one of them is like a New Orleans R&B funk thing. And that's the New Orleans thing is like one of my wheelhouse styles. So I do a lot of that. One is a trio with my son, who's an amazing jazz pianist.
Yeah.
And that's super gratifying for me to play with him. And we're recording an album of all his original music this summer.
Oh,
so
wow.
super excited. Yeah. And one's kind of a kitchen sink band. It's like jazz, funk, blues, reggae, hip hop, everything. And then I have a trio of 2 saxophones and drums called Mophone, which is like a New Orleans funky kind of street beat thing.
Wow.
And then sometimes like a cover, once in a while, cover R&B thing.
Wow. So when
and then another one, a world music project that does like group roots music from around the world.
So you're the educated one.
Yeah, that's safe to say. In deck, the bar isn't set that high.
I guess so. Well, I would say, well, James Harrison used to live here in Boise. He's now an East Coast guy. But he was kind of the go-to drum teacher. And I think if you had questions about jazz, he would be the one that people might lean towards because he's so educated in all of those things, especially his brush work.
Yeah. Oh, he's a fabulous brush player. Yeah.
Yeah. I not so much. Because I've spent most of my music career just in like hard rock lane. And
hard rock lane.
Yeah.
That's
we should try to get the name of our street changed to Hard Rock Lane.
Wow, Fred. It's already pretty fitting for us, I think.
Yeah, we live on Orbit Drive, and you turn off a Star Trek to get here.
Yeah, pretty fitting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anyway, the short answer to your question is yes.
You're the jazz guy.
Yeah.
You're the jazz guy. Yeah, when I'm teaching, let's get into teaching a little bit. Well, when did you start teaching, Jeremy?
That's a good story. I started when I was in college, and it was kind of a happy accident that I got started teaching at all. I had a really good friend who was also a drummer, but he was a percussionist. He played, tabla and doumbek and congas, not a drum set player. And he used to work at this guitar shop in Ann Arbor called Herb David Guitars. And I was in there. I'd go in there, hang out with him. We'd talk and shoot the breeze. And one time we were hanging out and this kid walked in and said, "Hey, do you teach drum set lessons?" And my friend said, "Oh, I don't teach drum set, but my friend Jeremy here does." And I didn't teach drums. And he's like, "And I'm sure he'll charge you the same low rate that I charge." And I was like, "What are you talking about, man? I don't teach drum lessons." Like, he's like, "Oh, man, you'll be great at it. You'll get back to basics. It's really fun. You'll be a great teacher." I was like, "Okay, well, look, kid," I told the student, I was like, "I've never done this, but I'm happy to show you what I know." And, get together and we did. And that was the beginning. And I found out that I was good at it and I liked it a lot. And it got me thinking about organizing materials in a way that he could understand better and kind of putting together a little curriculum sort of. And then I got another student and, started doing it. It was a nice way to make money part-time while I was in college.
Yeah.
And then when I moved out to California, I was like, okay, I'm going to pick up where I left off. And then it just kind of kept going.
Did you ever have to have a different job in your life other than being in music?
A couple of very short jobs when I moved out here. So I started the teaching going, but it wasn't, robust enough to sustain me.
Yeah.
In the beginning. So I had a couple of odd jobs, like working at a company that distributed like drumming videos and books and stuff. It was called Interworld Music. And Mickey Hart stuff. And then I had for about 2 weekends, I worked as a portrait photographer.
2 weekends.
And I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think I had one other job that escapes me, but there was all like within a year that all went away because my teaching practice was able to build it up enough to be like a full-time gig. And then within a year of being here, I started Bandworks also.
Wow, that was quick then.
Yeah, it was. I was 23, I think. Maybe it was 2 years, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you go back to your 23-year-old self, do you feel like the drive to do that is different now?
What do you mean?
Well, like when you're young, you could take on the world, right? You could do anything. You don't have any fear really of doing anything. You just do it versus maybe the awareness that you have now. Producer, how can I be more specific in my question?
I don't.
Well,
I guess is your mindset different? I don't know what Fred's getting at either, but like, because I could say the opposite, Fred. I could say that you're more bold as you get older.
In different ways, maybe, right?
Yeah, I think that's the case for me for sure. Being more bold now that I'm older.
Like I'm more willing to take risks now than I was then.
Interesting. Yeah. I probably am. Boy, that's a good question. I'm less afraid to sort of speak my mind maybe now, but but I'm not as ambitious as I was. I think that's for sure. And I think that's just part of getting older and,
you have more energy when you're younger.
For sure. Definitely. I did have more of a let's take over the world kind of attitude at the time. And there was a minute where Bandworks had 10 locations.
Wow.
Yeah. During the summer, so we had all these summer camps, and then we had one in Portland. We opened up a shop.
Wow.
And we were really thinking like we were going to take over the world, but it turned out, with all our more locations, we were making less money and had way, way, way more headaches. And so we decided, let's just scale it back to, where we are, where we're strong and local. So we kind of gave up the ghost on taking over the world. And then, 4 years later, School of Rock came out and they took over the world.
Did you know anybody involved with School of Rock?
No.
Okay. I wonder, like, sometimes people see a certain business model and go, oh, I'm going to follow that. It just happened to be coincidental that
we were first.
You were first.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, see, I know the guy that's part of the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. The OG.
I'm curious on the School of Rock thing, because that was a movie and then they opened up all the studios, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if the school was affiliated with the movie.
No, they weren't. As a matter of fact,
they'd have to get the trademark or something for that name, right?
Oh, yeah. That's right. We actually, for a while, called ourselves Bandworks School of Rock. And when they came out, they sent us a cease and desist about that. That was like our little tagline.
Oh,
and I talked to lawyers about it, and they said, well, they do have a trademark on School of Rock, but we think it's a really weak hold on it because, you can't really trademark like School of Ballet or School of Dentistry or whatever, right? So, we think if we fight it that we can win, but it's going to cost you like a couple $100,000. And I was like, no, we'll just take that off the business card.
Yeah.
And,
Jeez.
the website, whatever, who cares?
Wow. That's big money. At least to me, that's big money.
That's blood from a stone kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, as they say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just curious about that because I just saw in the news Taylor Swift is being sued for her Life of a Showgirl title for her album because there's some gal that has the trademark for Confessions of a Showgirl, and she's a Vegas showgirl. And so she got that, and she's suing her because she said it's somehow negatively affecting her business.
Boy, I doubt that.
All this other stuff. I know. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
That just seems like they know that Taylor Swift has money and
she'll just settle it to make it go away. Yeah, that's just opportunistic, taking advantage to me. But who knows?
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you know all this, Mary?
It was in the news. It was like all over
Mary's
my news
a
feed.
Swiftie.
It was in my news feed. It was like it kept coming across.
Oh, you're a Swiftie, lady.
I'm not a Swiftie.
It just sounds like she reads.
I do. Fred won't have anything to do with what's going on in the world. So it's like when I see something going on and he's like, how do you know that? I'm like, because I watch the news.
Yeah,
I don't know. I get like things in my news feed.
Yeah. I don't blame you, Fred.
Turn on music. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I was when I was. Well, I remember being in like junior high and high school, and all I'd want to watch is just regular shows, right? And my stepdad would be like, "Why don't you watch the news once in a while?" I'm like, "I don't want to know what's going on. I don't care."
Yeah, well, it's dark times right now. I don't want to. So I understand that.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I just want to
stay away from it.
Be in my cocoon of
my little bubble. Everyone asks me how I'm doing. I'm like, in my little bubble, everything's okay.
Yeah. So for me, when the news is about somebody suing Taylor Swift, I can handle that versus stuff that's going on in other parts of the world. It's like,
right.
That and your obsession with murder documentaries.
Well, Yeah.
I'm going to start sleeping in chain mail.
Gosh, it's not Fred. You act like I'm plotting something.
Have you watched the shows you watched? Somebody's wife is being arrested for murdering her husband after she watched 12 hours of murder documentaries.
No.
That's the headline.
No, they haven't had a headline like that yet.
Let's get back to Jeremy.
Yeah.
Enough about this.
Yes. So, well, that's pretty impressive that you could make that move and in a short period of time become more or less a full-time drum teacher.
Yeah.
In your early 20s and make that happen.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like in that moment, like, oh, is this really worth it? Like you could see like, or was it just always uphill? Just kept evolving into new and better stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. I never had any moments of self-doubt or like, is this the right path? I enjoyed it so much. And I was so hungry and sort of entrepreneurial that I, kept thinking about ways to make different things happen.
Yeah. I started teaching when I was in high school. So I was 17. And it was kind of a similar thing to your story where I walked into the music store and the owner of the store said, "There's our new drum teacher."
Oh, nice.
Like, where?
Yeah.
And it freaked me out. And I had been taking lessons from other teachers there until they all stopped teaching at some point. I just moved on to the next teacher and the next teacher. And he was really encouraging, just said, well, just teach them what you know. Like,
right.
Kind of just recreate kind of the process of the drum teachers you had. Right. So was that kind of the same for you? Just kind of going back in your mind and going, okay, how did I learn this instrument?
In the beginning, yes. I mean, I didn't know anything I didn't know what I didn't know,
Right.
And so I just was like, well, I'll show you how I learned. These are the books that I used, right? These are the methods that I was taught. But I only taught, for a year in college before I moved to California. So I hadn't been doing it for super long, but as soon as I got out here and just started getting deeper, I was always curious and hungry. So I at the music store where I taught, they had a drum book section. So I would go up and read all the drum books and buy the drum books and watch the videos and started, as I grew older, my sphere grew bigger, wider, and I started, this is before the internet, remember too.
Yeah.
And so that was the way to do it. And, took lessons myself with some other great teachers and, I just started learning more and developing more of a curriculum and becoming a better player too. Right. It was all sort of happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But I didn't really, it started just by, with what I knew. And then I learned more. And as I learned more, I was able to share more and offer more as a teacher. Yeah.
I think, I've had a handful of people that have called me about starting a drum teaching business. Like maybe they might have been some students of Matt Starr, part of his coaching stuff, who want to, get into music full time and teaching. And he'll say, well, here, call Fred, 'cause he's got this figured out.
Nice.
And one thing, and maybe you find this to be true too, Jeremy, is like when somebody wants to get into teaching, maybe they have like these grand plans of like, oh, I'm going to have 40 or 50 students in the next week. I kind of feel like you might look at that because you're excited and maybe from a financial standpoint, you're like, I need a certain amount of students to make this work. But if they hadn't been teaching at all or for very long, I think they just need fewer students over and grow that slowly so that they themselves can refine what they need to do as a teacher.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. And, I take great care and great pride in how I teach and put quite a lot of energy into it. And gosh, I know so much more. I mean, I've been doing it for, 34 years or something. So like, I know so much more about doing it now than I did when I started. Right.
Of course.
At the time, then I had energy and good communication skills, but not necessarily the knowledge.
Yeah.
Or, enough knowledge to teach beginners or whatever, but not like I have now. So yeah, it doesn't work like that. You have, like you say, it takes time, and you're better suited working with a few people to learn how to teach. So one of the things that I do, in addition to running Bandworks, I have this program called the East Bay Drum School. And it started with me I was getting more calls for students than I could manage for myself. Right.
Yeah.
So I had a couple of older teenagers who were really, really fine players. And I said, hey, would you be interested in maybe taking on some overflow lessons for working with younger kids and beginners? And I'll pay you, and I'll teach you how to teach, and I'll give you all my materials, and I'll tell you how I organize it. And we'll meet once a month, and you can talk to me about some of the challenges you're facing with your students and how to be a better teacher. So I was like, I can share my wisdom and experience and help these people grow into becoming drum teachers. And that's what became the East Bay Drum School, was sort of a teaching school, sort of, to teach the teachers a little bit. Yeah, but anyways, I think like everybody could benefit from a mentor in that regard, right? Like, because I wish, I would have been an even more effective teacher when I was younger if I knew more of what I knew now, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Or if I had gone to you and like talked to you about how to do it, and
And that was the same thing. Like, I went to James Harrison because James had a successful teaching business here, and I've known James for 37, 8 years or so, for a while. And I, first of all, when I was kind of making the decision to start teaching, I called up James and I said, is there room for another drum teacher in Boise? Like, I felt
that's a good, respectful thing to do.
Yeah. I felt like, we're friends already, and now I'm going to start another business that's going to be in competition with you,
right?
So to speak. Or I mean, you could easily view it as that way, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man, this is my experience, and this is what I've done, and this is what's worked for me or what hasn't, and these are kind of some things to be aware of.
Good for him.
And he kind of helped get me set up with an idea of what to expect.
Yeah.
And it was really, really cool.
Generous.
Yeah. Yeah. The producer's leaving us for a short time. She's got to run our son to culinary school.
Oh, that's cool.
Then she'll be back.
I hope you guys get to benefit from that.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes we do. But yeah, it was really cool to have James's mentorship and wisdom in that, and what to expect as getting started in that. And it was really, really helpful to not put like false expectations in front of myself and then be disappointed.
Sure.
And it was,
I mean, I think you probably have also run across, people who are kind of, I'm going to try teaching, and then they flame out pretty quickly. Right.
Oh yeah.
And they're thinking about it in terms of like, maybe it's about making money, but it's not necessarily about the process or about developing your skills as a teacher. I mean, it's a commitment to a career path, right? Just like becoming a teacher in school would be. Yeah.
I think some of the things as being a teacher that's not expected is, as your students come through the door, sometimes you got to navigate whatever's going on in their life. So
totally.
Sometimes you find yourself becoming a therapist, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I talk about that in my book about, like, as drum teachers, we're drum instructors, we're therapists, we're mechanics, you have to wear all these different hats, and being an effective teacher, means caring about our students and how they learn and how they learn most effectively. And sometimes you have to understand what's going on with them, outside of drumming to be good at helping them become better drummers, if that makes sense.
Well, in the process, they're just becoming better people
That's right.
by not. I've had. I'm sure you and I could probably go back and forth sharing different scenarios that students have of different ages. One for me was, high school kids come in and something in their eyes is going really, really wrong in their life, and they don't feel like they have anybody else to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they leave here, like, I think maybe this is true to you too, Jeremy. Being a parent helps with that because you've navigated a lot of those things on a very personal level with your own son.
Sure.
But I have to remind myself sometimes I'm not their parent.
Well, no, you're not their parent, but you are a role model or a parental figure, or whatever you want to call it. You can have a pretty, we can have pretty massive, meaningful influence on students and their lives and their trajectories.
Yeah.
And sometimes, it's great. It's best when they have terrific parental support at home, and you can sort of, as a, with your parents, you have a relationship with the parents that is supportive of the kids' development and progress, and lots of great communication. But it's not always that, right? Sometimes they've got a crappy situation at home, and the drum lesson is kind of a respite, from that.
It is. Yeah. I've had, students come in who parents are separating, and so their home life is kind of a mess and
upheaval. Yeah.
And so when they come here, they're like, "Oh, is my lesson already over?" Like back to reality kind of a thing for them. And that's a tough thing. But it's not all bad stuff. Like, students can come in and they've had a major victory in maybe their job. Like some of my adult students, maybe they got a promotion at work and they're really excited about that and they want to. So there's all these different life scenarios that are happening. Yeah. And I think when you sign yourself up to become a music teacher, that's something that not a lot of people talk about. Like, this is also going to be included in this, whether you want it to be or not.
Right. Yeah.
So how does a 23-year-old Jeremy Steinkoler navigate those kind of things versus what are you mid-50s, Jeremy?
Versus what? Versus now?
Yeah. Like, are you in your mid-50s?
Yeah, I'm 54.
Okay. Yeah. So you and I are the same age.
When's your birthday?
June 7th.
Okay. Never mind.
Were we going to go celebrate? When's yours?
October 5th.
Okay. All right. Well, keep racing each other.
Sorry, what was the question again?
I was just saying, when we sign ourselves up to become music teachers, we don't really consider those things. And so I was just curious, like, how does the 23-year-old Jeremy Steinkoler navigate those scenarios versus
certainly not. Right. Certainly not with the same, life perspective and wisdom, right? I mean, you only know what you know. And then in some ways, I would say that my drumming even has developed so much from just growing as a person, aside from just practicing and going to concerts and learning all the traditional ways. Like, as you evolve as a person, your playing evolves. And as you mature, your playing matures. But you do what you can. I mean, if you were 54 now and you were wanting to go take drum lessons with a teacher, that you're going to get a different experience if you go to a 23-year-old versus a 54-year-old.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Now, when you're a beginner, or let's say when you're a kid, or you're going to send your kid to lessons, maybe you want the young, energetic, enthusiastic guy who's all about motivation and fun and doesn't charge as much.
That's true too.
Right. But now, if you're an adult or you're older and you want someone with a little bit, you can relate to a little bit better, who has got more life experience, and who's, really good at, even better at what they do, maybe you'll sign up for lessons with an older person who has that benefit of that life experience, but also cost more money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't look back at my teaching when I was younger and think, oh my God, I was so stupid. I was saying all the wrong things. Like I was on the right track, I think, from the beginning, but it's, excuse me. You know what you know, and you offer what you can offer.
Here you go.
Oh, thanks. And it's just different,
Yeah. Yeah. James says, let's put James's comment up here. We all have a blueprint we teach from, but it's consistently evolving. Students and their different needs, obstacles, and attitudes help us learn and adapt our teaching.
That's a very James thing to say.
It is a very James thing to say.
And of course, he's 100% right.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally true.
Well, look, let me say something about that, if I may.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think it's, I've run across teachers who are pretty kind of set in the way they do things, and they only use the same methods. They only use the same books. They only, teach the same songs. And, I don't think sometimes that can work for people, but really, I mean, the way I look at it is like, even at 54, even though my wife thinks that I say I know everything, you're constantly evolving. You're always, and if you're not, you're doing yourself a disservice, right?
Right.
The way that the instrument is being played is changing and evolving all the time. The better you get at playing, the more you realize how little you know, and how little you can do, and how much is out there. And also, ways of understanding how people learn and how to teach more effectively are always evolving, right? When I was at PASIC this past November. For those of you who don't know, PASIC is the Percussive Art Society conference. It happens in Indianapolis every year, and they have clinics and workshops and performances. It's awesome, and anyone can go. Beginners, it's really, really cool. Highly recommend. Anyway, there was a presentation given by these two guys who were college percussion instructors, and they were doing all this research about most effective teaching practices, and the latest brain science about how we learn. And they were offering all this stuff, and I was like, oh, some of it was like, yes, I do that already. That was really validating. I'm on the right track. And other things were like, wow, that's something I didn't know about. And about, they were. So my point is that, we're always discovering new things if you're open to it. And the more you are, the better a teacher you're going to become, and a better player.
I think that's the benefit of participating and watching the Drummer's Education Connection podcast, at least for me, because between you and Chip and Bart and Rick, whatever subject you happen to be talking about, there's some new way the light is being shown on the subject.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I go, wow, that's genius. And so I put that kind of in my lesson plan or a way that I present an idea or try to get an idea across.
That's a really nice thing to say, Fred. And it means a lot to me. And it really does make me feel like, what we're doing is worthwhile. And if it can have even that kind of impact on someone like you, I think that's really cool.
Well, I get asked this question occasionally, and maybe you do too, is like my students will ask me like, how often do I practice, or do I still take lessons? I don't do a lot of practice on stuff like what my students do. Like I might practice something I need to learn to perform. Like I'll work on that. But at some point we all have a certain facility to play the instrument, right? So I'm not like studying my hand technique anymore.
Right.
Or I'm not focused on that.
Sure.
But my lesson is not like a formal sign up to do something, but my lesson is through shows like the Deck Show or other teachers I'll see online or something, or just, just like becoming friends with the four of you has expanded my group of people I can lean on.
Yeah.
I can send a text picture to you guys and say, what is wrong with the notation of this.
Right.
And this conversation in my, like, that helps reinforce like what I'm doing.
Sure.
And it's just a great community of people to lean on. So that's where like my continuing to learning and take lessons happens.
Well, I love that you mentioned the word community, because that's really what DEC is about, and what I'm about, with all the things that I do with Bandworks, with the drum school. I also, I didn't mention, but I teach at this music camp every summer. It's a family camp, performing arts camp. It's called Cazadero Performing Arts Family Camp. And that's all about building community through music. And, I feel like, especially with drummers, maybe more so than with other instruments, there's this feeling of brotherhood and sisterhood and community through drumming, and not so much a feeling of competition. Like you were talking about, you approached James about, hey, I want to start teaching. And he was like, yeah, of course, I'll be so supportive. I'll tell you all the things that I learned and the pitfalls to avoid, right? As opposed to, no, this is mine, and, I'm not going to share. I find that drummers are the most generous in terms of sharing knowledge and experience and support with each other. And you really feel that at PASIC too. I don't know. I don't know if that's, universal, but it's been my experience.
Well, I think most people watching who know me a little bit know I owned my own landscaping business for 20 years. And that's like a whole nother part of my life that I don't have to do anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Which I'm so thankful for. That's like a whole nother discussion, like getting coaching and finding your way to doing what you're meant to do. But one thing that stuck out is every year they would have what's called the INLA, which is the Idaho National Land, or the International Landscaping Association, or something like that. And I would go to these classes to learn how to run my business better.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a similar thing or a story where a really huge successful landscape company, they had a lot of visibility, nicer vehicles, the way they dressed was nicer. And they saw a smaller landscaping company go into these conferences, and they're driving, really rundown vehicles and just really struggling to be financial, in a good financial thing, being profitable.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess one morning a limo picked them up from the hotel and took them to the conference. They didn't know why this limo was sent for them. But they rode in style, right? And then they had like front row seats to the conference and all of that. And this bigger successful landscape company did all of that for them. And they said, we don't view this as competition. We too needed that help at a certain point. So we wanted to shine the light on what you should be doing.
Beautiful.
Now I'm totally paraphrasing that because I don't remember exactly the order of all of that, but
it doesn't matter. You remember the spirit of it,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like this really successful company saw one not so successful, and they said, we just need to bring them into the light.
Right.
And so they did these nice things for them to show them, like, hey, we're not your competition. We're here to help support you.
Right.
And that always stuck with me. And so I kind of feel like that was my experience with James when I went to ask him about, because I had a lot of questions, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, and you still have questions, right? I mean,
yeah,
we're always learning. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's one of, you pointed out the DEC and the Drummers Education Connection podcast, and how that's helped you, and that's helped me. I mean, I'm on it, and I learn from those guys every week, and sometimes just get it, and also from our guests and from you, and getting different perspectives on things can be massively helpful and can change the way you do things.
Do you feel like sometimes we just overthink the process? Like, you could just get to the answer more quickly if you just my train of thought is leaving. It's like
I mean,
we want to get so in depth into the psychology of certain things, where it's like, well, can you just play the drums or not?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think about overthinking it. Hell, I wrote a whole book about about thinking about it. I think more often it's people don't think enough about it.
I guess that could be true too.
but I mean, that has nothing, that's a separate conversation from playing the drums by itself. I mean, yeah.
I think, well, maybe this is kind of a little diversion a little bit, but sometimes drummers think the answer to playing better is the newest gadget.
Oh yeah. Well, that's like golf.
Right? I only had a better club. Oh, now I've never golfed a game in my life.
Yeah. Well, it's probably like everything, if I get the shoes, I'll be a better basketball player or whatever.
Right. You'll jump higher.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people have been doing this since long before these gadgets existed. I mean, it's not to say that sometimes a gadget can't be useful, right? I mean, sometimes techno innovations are really important and can help you along the way. And if modern tools like the modern metronomes, those are really cool and function in a way that they didn't years ago when we were growing up, right?
Yeah.
There's all these cool ways that can help you improve. And there's some really good apps out there that are great. But you got to put the work in. There's just no way around that. I think that the younger generation, they're used to this instant gratification thing, and it just doesn't happen like that. To get good, you have to spend lots of time playing, practicing.
So Amy is here and she has a question.
Hi, Amy.
So I'm going to let Jeremy answer the question. Isn't it more of an emotional feeling that brings the feel to the beat?
Oh, this is a good question, and this is like one of my favorite topics. I actually you teed this one up for me, huh?
Yes.
I do a whole clinic on feel, and what that is, and breaking it down and understanding it. And mostly, it's a both and. Like, there's a technical aspect to feel, because even when you're playing, like from the heart or whatever, with a feeling, to create a feeling, there's something you have to do physically to produce that on the drums, right?
Yeah.
And you can analyze what that is that's happening, and you can talk about the angle of the stick on the hi-hat, or the pressure with the foot, or the height of the stroke, or whatever. And those are all things that you can analyze and parse out and tweak. And I always like to get into the balance of the parts of the kit dynamically. So, like, how loud is the hi-hat relative to the snare? Imagining that you're an engineer with dials to adjust the volume of each limb, and also the tone of each limb, right? And blending those together to make the song feel right. And that's a big part of like what I teach in terms of feel and how I break it down. But there is always like kind of an X factor, or like a emotional feeling or whatever, like Amy's suggesting. But that may be the motivation for what happens for you as a drummer in order to bring a certain feel to the music, but you're still having to produce that in a physical way, a technical way, right? And so sometimes, I can get a student to do something by just a suggestion of an emotional feeling. I might say, okay, play it more like you're at the beach and you're kind of just kicking back and you're laid back and it's lazy. Play it like you're, amped up and driving down the freeway, whatever.
I do the same. Yeah.
What's that? And so those are sort of emotional cues, the way you might give an actor a kind of a cue, right? To channel something when they're trying to deliver something, to get them to produce the right desired effect. And that works for some people and it doesn't work for others. But even if that's the motivation, ultimately what's happening is something technical has changed, right? So when you're thinking about sitting at the beach and being laid back, okay, now you're playing more behind the beat, and you've changed the way you're striking the bass drum or whatever it is by thinking of those things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a both and. Like, it's not divorced from technique, nor is technique divorced from the emotional whatever mindset.
Well, it's a blend of technique and feel and emotion, right? To have feel.
Yeah. Touch. It's a blend of touch and tone and time.
Yeah.
And and technique and all those things too.
Now, I think this might go back to like my overthinking things. Like, in order to achieve that, some people think you have to have all this technical proficiency, or like you have to hold. I did a show about this maybe 6-8 months ago. Like, does technique even matter?
Yeah.
Like how you hold your sticks, does it matter? I
Right.
think so to a certain degree, but I don't think that's the be all end all to being
Right.
successful playing the instrument.
That's right. That's right. I mean, we can point to drummers who have quote, bad technique,
Yeah,
who have great feel. And
exactly.
we can point to drummers who have incredible technique and maybe not great feel.
Yeah,
And then there's drummers who have both.
right.
And then there's drummers who have neither. Right.
Are they
Um,
drums?
but so it's not like that. Oh, I mean, I've had some people say, oh, I don't want to learn that because, I'm just a feel player. It's like, well, do you even understand what feel means? Feel is not just like, oh, I just feel the music and play it the way I feel. Like, that's not what this is about. Like, you're trying to craft a part and contribute, sonically to a song to ultimately to make it have a certain feeling.
Yeah,
But the devil's in the details with that, and the more astute you are with your technical understanding and your facility, the better you're going to be able to achieve that.
yeah.
You know?
I feel like the more you know, the more options you have.
Yeah, right. That's it. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, the more you got tools in the toolbox, and some of those tools you may only use for special occasions, right? And then other tools you use all the time because they're just necessary to have. It's like the junk drawer in the kitchen. You got your screwdriver and
Right.
your pliers.
Well, and to use the tool analogy further, like, some people may be expert tool users,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily, artists. Like, what I mean is, like,
Exactly.
if you
Yeah.
think about, like, some people can be better drummers with less technique, more
Mm-hmm.
musical drummers, let's say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the technique by itself is not like, that's not the answer to whether they're good field players or not. And all the technique does is gives you, like you say, it gives you more options, more adaptability, more versatility. It doesn't hurt you; it only helps you. But if you
Yeah.
don't put you have to keep your eye on the prize, which is make the music sound good and feel good. Right? Duke Ellington said, "If it sounds good and it feels good, it is good." And
Yeah.
that's kind of it. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't care what you come to the table with, whether you're trained, whether you've got, all this chops, or whether you've got the exact right way of holding the stick and there's different methods. Like, that doesn't really mean anything to anybody, in terms of who's experiencing the music. They're just experiencing the music. Does it
Well,
sound good? Does it feel good?
yeah. We live in a world where we're visual listeners, right? We're hearing with our eyes. So we're watching a YouTube video or whatever it may be, and we have more accessibility to every camera angle to see how somebody's playing something, rather than like when you and I were growing up, you listened to the
It's a
radio,
record. Yeah, yeah.
right? And you would and we would spend all these hours and hours and hours listening and rewinding and listening and rewinding and playing over and over and over to figure out what was going on, right? We really had to use our ears. Now you use your eyes and you go, I don't like the way he's holding that stick. He's not that
Mm,
good.
mm.
Like, if you just shut the picture off and just listen, does it, just like you said, does it sound good? Does it feel good?
Yeah, I don't really care. I'm not one of those teachers that insists on a certain. I mean, I'll sort of teach best practices. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if or if someone comes in and says, "Oh, I want to get faster with my hands," okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna dig into your hand technique, right?
Yeah.
But you can hold the sticks, I don't say however you want, but like, I'll sort of tolerate a range of things if they get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the way I hold the sticks and the way I move my hands is going to be different than the way you do, Fred, for sure. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're both really good drummers, and turns out there's different ways to go about it. I mean, if you look at YouTube, you can go down the rabbit hole of, like, pedal technique, and, there's 8 different ways to do it. And if everyone's really good at all these different things,
Mm-hmm.
and no one who's listening to the music cares a whit about your pedal technique.
No.
Right. So it's like, can you make the music feel good? Can you make the music sound good? And, okay, learn the tools to be able to do that.
Yeah. So Mary says, to me, feel is drawing the emotion out of the song to connect to whoever's listening to it. I'm really into lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you know this already, but like the lyrical content and like what we're trying to say to me is a big factor in how I play the drums. Because I want to move that song in whatever emotional direction the lyrics are taking it.
Yes.
How do you teach that?
Steve Gadd talks about this. He talked about, someone asked him at some clinic, hey, you're like the, number one studio guy like of all time. What's your approach when you go into the studio with different artists? And he said, the first thing I do is I just listen to the song and just try to get a sense of what is the song about.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously this is a song that suggests there's lyrics, right?
Yeah.
And then, he said, like, I pretty much try to play, try to sort of fit the vibe of the song to help deliver the sort of emotional intent, let's say, or character, maybe a better word, of the song. Sure. And then I try to play as simply as I can. That's what Steve Gadd said, So that's pretty good advice. I agree with what you said. And it's, I think Mary's onto something there. Like, it really is about, to me, playing good music, making a song sound good is really about figuring out what is the character of the song, what is the song asking of the drum part, and delivering that. And I don't think I understood that when I was younger quite the way I do now.
Yeah, same.
And I thought it was more about the part, the what. And now I realize it's so much more about the how than the what. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if we sat 5 of the best drummers in the world down to play the same song that they'd never heard before with an artist, like, they're not all going to come up with exactly the same part.
Right.
We get so focused on the drum part, the transcription or like the beat or whatever the thing is that we think is the magic that's the what. And the what matters, but the how is much more important, because you could play a different part and make the song sound great. And you could even play exactly the same part that's on the record and not have it feel right.
Yeah, exactly. That's where like people get hung up. Well, first, this is something that rubs me the wrong way a little bit, so I'm going to just tell you. Is somebody could do a tutorial of the Rosanna Shuffle, right? Jeff Porcaro. Mm-hmm. And you have all of your internet experts watching this video of somebody playing Rosanna, and they're going to say the ghost notes are too loud, or they're too quiet, or they're not the same, or that snare drum's not the right sound, or the way he's holding the sticks aren't right. He's playing it too fast. He's playing it too slow. Well, guess what? None of those people are Jeff Porcaro. None. So there's just something in everybody's DNA that's going to be different, right?
Yeah, right.
No matter what. Like you could just like you said, you could copy a drum part exactly note for note. Maybe you're holding the sticks the same. Maybe you're using the same drums, the same microphones. Everything is set up exactly the same, and somebody's going to say that's not correct.
Well, regardless of what somebody says about it, it's going to sound likely a little bit different.
Yeah, because they're not them; they're somebody else.
Right. So this is going back to earlier. Like, there's all the technical ways you can analyze and talk about stick height and all these, grip and all that stuff, and then there's just the feeling, and there is a certain sort of hard to analyze factor, X factor, whatever you want to call it, of what we bring to the music when we play, and an energy. And that can be, dependent upon like how much sleep you've had and, your state of mind and right. All those things, especially playing jazz, which is even more open to interpretation or whatever, and feel subtleties. Yeah, I mean, we're agreeing,
Yeah.
There's so much to it, and that's part of what's cool about it is you get to be your own version of yourself, and that's what I try to teach my students, is to be the best version of themselves, as opposed to trying to copy a certain drummer's everything.
Yeah. Do you find some students get too hung up on those details? Like, that's not exactly the same as what this person.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. As a matter of fact, like they'll get so hung up on it because to them it's like it's correct or incorrect. They're like, especially
Yeah.
when they're working off charts, it's like, oh, I didn't play that right. I'm like, yeah, but you sounded great. The feel was there, the energy was there, the time was there, the pocket was there. What's your problem, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but I didn't play this fill. Yeah, but so what? Like he doesn't play that fill the same way every time either.
Right. It's I had this discussion with a student yesterday. There was a song where it wasn't always consistent of a 2-bar phrase, but you would have and one on the kick drum.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it was just one and three on the kick.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes you had that and one. But it seems so random in the recording. Like if you were to map it out.
Right.
And
another plan. Yeah.
And he was like, he was just so hung up, like, I don't know when that's going to happen.
Right.
And I said, well, there's a high probability that whoever that drummer is that recorded that song, that just happened to be the way he played it when it got captured.
That's right. That's right.
It was just something in the moment that led him to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, instead of being so hung up on when that happens,
mm-hmm.
Can you still groove with the song? Can you play your own parts over the top of this song that would still fit the feel and groove of the song that doesn't take away from what the song is?
Right. Yes, exactly. 100%. And can you make the song sound good with what you can do that sounds good?
Yeah.
Because as opposed to trying to do what somebody else did, emulate that. I mean, there's value in that approach, right? You can learn from painting by numbers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they're doing it sort of improvising or coming up with their parts. And that's the way you want to be able to do it too. So when I'm working on songs with my students, we'll work off transcriptions, not always. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they'll learn the parts and I'll say, okay, now that you can play the part, the what of the way the drummer did it, I want you to go home this week and I want you to practice the song, not looking at any paper and not playing from memory, but just playing it in the way that feels natural for you to play it.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens with that.
Yeah. And I think that's where their artistic license gets developed.
Right. And their confidence in their own voice.
Yeah. Yeah. So when they go to play either in an original band or they want to play in a band, like say a cover band, can you still represent the song's integrity?
Right.
And still, have the skeleton of what's there, but you can play a drum fill that still works.
Yeah. Or you can play a groove variation that works or whatever. Right. Yeah. I mean, and remember, like you say, we get so hung up on these recordings. That was just what the dude played or the woman played when they recorded it.
Yeah.
That day. Had they recorded it the next day, it might have been a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly.
And certainly
the song has still been there, but it's just a different variation of what they did. And
right.
And I'm the same way. Like anything that I've recorded and with my own bands, and then I go play them live. And that's the other thing is songs tend to morph a little bit the more you play them live. Maybe there's situational things that happen on stage, and now the song kind of went this way a little bit, and you go, oh, that was really cool. And then maybe you kind of keep building off of that over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
To where there's the recording version and then there's the live version, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Let's put James's comment up here. Your feel is something that can make your phone ring. Other musicians will often choose a drummer because of them. It just feels good when they play with you.
1,000%. Of course. I mean, I will, as a musician, if I'm a guitar player, I want the drummer that makes the music sound good, feel good, makes it feel good to play with them over anything else. That is my number one and pretty much only priority. Like technique, whatever,
Right.
Yeah, that's field players are the ones that get all the calls. You look at Steve Gadd's discography, to use an example of like one of the top field drummers ever. He's played with everybody, hundreds and hundreds of hit records. And then you look at, another drummer, I won't say a name, but who's like a technical wizard, and they've got, 10 records.
Yeah.
And this guy can play circles around Steve Gadd technically, but doesn't have the feel.
Right. I've been playing with this Eric Clapton tribute band called Crossroads off and on for the past year. And every Eric Clapton song, if you find a video of him playing live, it's different every single time.
Sure, of course. Well,
And
it's the blues, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of jam bandy sort of approach. But the ones that I enjoy watching the most and kind of the blueprint that I follow is anytime Steve Gadd's playing with Eric Clapton.
Yeah, it's and he just makes the Ash Sohn, another drummer I saw. I didn't know about him. I discovered him at PASIC last year. He's like, to me, like the British Steve Gadd.
Mm-hmm.
He's played with Adele and Seal and all these other famous British artists, and he, like, everything he plays sounds just perfect.
Yeah,
feels just amazing. And you know, there's a bunch of drummers like that. J.R.
Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson. I always get confused. Robertson, Richards. Jim Keltner is another one of my heroes like that. Yeah, Richie Hayward from Little Feat. Like, you know, some of these guys, it's like just everything they do just sounds great all the time. Jeff Porcaro, of course.
Yeah.
And those are my heroes. Like, to me, the guys that I, like, you know, aspire to become like are the guys that are musical to the top, as opposed to, you know, the technical guys don't turn me on as much.
No, I think when I was younger, I was impressed by more of the technical things.
Of course.
Right. And I don't know if I haven't noticed, because maybe I haven't been paying attention, but I haven't noticed as many people doing the gospel chops drumming. But I can definitely appreciate it for what it is. But I get worn out really quick listening to it.
Totally.
Because it's just like a nonstop fast drum solo.
I was like, wow, that's really impressive and good for you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy that album.
Where's Back in Black when you need it?
Yeah. Right.
That's kind of how I feel about that. And you mentioned earlier, like, students want to come in and they want to play really fast. They want to get their hands really fast. Okay. Why?
Well,
where are we going with this?
It depends, right? Like, because I have some students who they're limited by their speed. Like, you know, they can't play the 16th note fills in these kind of medium to medium up rock songs. And like, okay, we want you to be able to do that. So we have to work on that for there. But like, you know, you reach a point of diminishing returns with that stuff.
Of course. Yeah.
And
they'll see somebody just go,
right,
you know,
right.
Other than just the accomplishment of that in itself, like, where would that ever be used? I don't know.
Right. Well, and you know, that's what YouTube is littered with, is all those crazy chops videos. And like, I feel like there's a sort of subculture in drumming of like lionizing, you know, technique and chops. And like, that's all great, but and impressive, but it doesn't have a lot of musical application very, very often.
No. And I don't know if that's just an age thing for me, or you know, they say wisdom is a culmination of knowledge and experience. And my knowledge and experience goes, I don't know if I'd ever do that.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, let's put it this way, with trying to be non-judgmental about it. Like, the different kinds of music require different kinds of resources from you as a drummer, right? So if you love, you know, this music that is technically really dense, you know, speed metal or fusion or whatever, and you want to learn the skills to do it, great, awesome. You know, and that's fine. It doesn't, who cares how many people listen to it? It doesn't matter, right? If you like it, you love it, go do it. And if this is the music you like, these are the skills you need to develop, and there's lots of them. And you got to work really hard to get the hand speed and the foot speed and all this for that.
Yeah.
And if you like playing country music, great. Your job is your path is going to be a lot easier. You know, you don't need the same technical facility. Yes, you need a lot of feel. Yes, you need some technique, but like, you don't need the same stuff you need for playing, you know, fusion.
My neighbor across the street, sometimes we have these discussions where, you know, we're just sitting on we call it driveway beers.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just, like, in the summer, just go hang out and have a few drinks and be sitting there and the radio's on or some music playlist he's got. And he'll say, like, okay, if this band called you up, could you go play with them tomorrow? And depending on who it would be, I'd be like, yeah, I could go play that. Yeah, I could go play that. But if like Rush came on, he's like, can you go play that? And I'm like, no. He's like, what? But you can play all these other things. I'm like, yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah, I'd have to go practice. I'd have to go practice to play that.
It's just a totally, and it was just like, it didn't make sense to him that, well, if you play drums, you can play anything. I'm like, no, it's like, you have to have these development of these skills in these areas to be able to do those things.
Right.
And I'm like, nah, I'm not, like some, I don't know who the popular bands would be now, like, but like for me, like younger would be like Slayer or anything like that, where there's a lot of fast double bass happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe if in my mid 20s, I may have had a shot at doing that, but not now.
Well, we're all different drummers, right? Like we are the sum total of our interests and our influences and the lessons we've taken and the music we listen to and the shows we've been to and the YouTube videos we've watched. And for some people that goes in a more technical direction or a more topsy direction. And for some people it doesn't. And that's fine. Like I have students who can play things I can't play.
Yeah.
And that's great. Doesn't mean I don't have so much more to show them or teach them or, just because I can't do the double bass stuff as fast as they can, that's okay.
But I think what goes hand in hand with what you're saying right now, Jeremy, is the best basketball player on the planet has a coach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But the coach doesn't play basketball like that.
That's right.
That athlete, right?
Not only he has like 10 coaches. Yeah. He's got a conditioning coach and he's got a nutrition coach and he's got a workout coach and yeah. Exactly.
So even though that like we as teachers maybe can't play some of the things that our student is doing, doesn't mean that you can't analyze what they're doing and say, yeah, maybe if you could still do this.
Right.
So I think going back to like people getting into teaching, they'll be like, well, maybe I don't have the skills to be able to just show them. Like when I worked at the high school as the drumline coach, I'm not a great traditional grip snare drum player.
Yeah, me neither.
And I'm not a great quad player, and I'm not a marimba player. But one thing that I can do is take the group as a whole and train them how to play well together as a group. And that would be the goal of that. But if I was focusing on like everybody's individual technique or everybody's double stroke roll or whatever, are they playing the timpani right? Nothing would get done.
Right. Well, and also that's not
private lessons.
Yeah, that's right. And that's not the kind of work you should be doing in an ensemble setting, right? That's one-on-one, right? So I teach at this music camp where I teach every summer at Cazadero. I teach a giant Motown soul band that's like 30 people big, and also a rock band that's like 25 people. And I play guitar and a little bass and can sing a little bit and, very rudimentary keyboard skills, but enough, that I could, the people playing guitar, some of them are better guitar players than I am, right? That doesn't mean I can't tell them, oh, you're rushing, here, or the strumming pattern should be a little bit different here, or you're, but anyways, yeah, in an ensemble, you're working on togetherness and dynamics and groove and all that stuff, as opposed to, little technical things that are meant for private study or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I know some people kind of get stuck in that where, I've witnessed it firsthand where somebody else would come in and try to run and everybody's standing around while he's, focused on one person's paradiddle or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the worst. That's the worst when yeah.
Now you're making that person feel small and you're wasting everybody else's time.
Exactly.
Like, make arrangements to do that at another time, privately or whatever. But let's take a hard turn here, Jeremy, because you mentioned at the top of the show that you were into writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have here in my hands a book that you sent me, Finding the Groove, Lessons from a Life, Drumming, Teaching, and Performing. And this is an amazing book. And I think I've told you that before, but
Thank
here
you.
we are live on the air. So, what brought you to the point where you said, I need to write a book, and I'm going to write a book about these things, drumming and teaching?
In my teaching practice, I'll often will tell stories about my own experiences, on a gig, or how I learned something, or, an audition, or whatever, all these kinds of experiences related to drumming. And I thought one day, boy, it'd be kind of cool if I could have all this stuff in one place that I could communicate, not just to my students, but to other people who could potentially benefit from my experience. And I just started sort of, feverishly writing stuff down at 2 a.m. on my computer, and then kept going and did it weeks and weeks and weeks. And then that was the easy part. The hard part was organizing it and editing it and realizing that I'd said the same things 4 different ways, twice, and making it so that it could all kind of come together in a volume of a collection of essays that communicated, what I had to offer.
Yeah.
And it was fun up until the editing part.
Did you have any help in that?
I did. Yeah. I hired an editor. I actually had 2 different editors, that went through it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I liked when, I first started reading this right before I broke my leg.
Oh, wow.
I had it on the plane with me flying to Indianapolis. And one thing that I really liked about it is it's not a bunch of really long, drawn out chapters.
Right.
To me, it's like a collection of short stories.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I'm kind of an impatient reader. Like I'll read for a little bit, but very rarely do I just keep reading. But these collections of stories, to me, were really interesting, and some of them very inspiring, that I just found myself constantly reading. Like I would read easily, like, I don't know, a quarter of the book in one setting.
Wow.
That's a lot for me.
Yeah. It is an easy read, for those of you that might be sort of intimidated by a book with words in it, but I appreciate that.
Pictures, Jeremy, there's no pictures in here.
Yeah, right. There's no pictures. There's no drum beats. There's no drum beats.
No,
it's just words. That was sort of the intent. Like, let's make this easily digestible. And you can pick it up and put it down, and you don't have to go in order. And I tried to organize them based on different kinds of things. Like some are like a little bit in the weeds on the, like, how we learn and best practices for practicing. And then there's the last section's about kind of life lessons, I've learned through music and through drumming. Yeah.
Well, I remember a story in your book. I don't remember the exact scenario, so I'm gonna tell you what I remember, but I want you to springboard off of this. I want to say that you were playing a show as a 3-piece, and like outside where people are walking by, and nobody was really paying attention.
Yeah.
And I think some construction workers or something.
Yes.
Kind of got some crowd involvement going. Can you tell everybody kind of about that story?
I was in high school, and my jazz combo, in New York City, we would sometimes decide on a weekend to go like set up in Central Park and just play for a couple hours and make some tips. And this particular day we went down to the South Street Seaport, which was a kind of a tourist area they had boats and stuff and maritime museum, whatever. And we set up on the sidewalk and we're playing for, I don't know, an hour, and, occasional passerby, occasional dollar in the case. Yeah. And these maintenance workers or construction guys had just gotten off of their shift at the seaport, and they, were hung out listening to us and enjoying it and like giving us lots of like, yeah, you guys are great. You guys are cool. And then the drummer said, hey, drummer man, give me a beat, and so I played a funky beat, and all of a sudden he starts like being like a front man, like a hype guy, an MC, and it's like, hey, everybody, come on, gather around. What was you? What's going on? Something over here, and like within, I don't know, 5 minutes, there was like 100 people in a big semicircle around us. And he wasn't even doing anything. He was just kind of hyping up the crowd. Right.
Yeah.
And then, we started jamming. We had a little groove going. The bass player picked up a line, sax player started playing. And this went on for like 10 minutes. And he, while there's all these 100 people there, he takes his hat off and he passes it around, gets filled up with a couple $100.
Wow.
And hands it to us and says, way to go, guys. And that was it. And then, we kind of kept playing, and then there was no more like big show. So the crowd kind of dispersed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we're back to playing our jazz tunes, like, for 3 people. But we made like $200 in 5 minutes, and we all looked at each other. We're in high school, mind you. We're like, what the heck just happened? You know? And I said to my bass player, I was like, that was show business right there. Like that was all about, an experience and engaging people.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need that entertainment value,
Did that moment steer you in a little bit of a different direction after kind of being part of that? Like,
not really.
You need to have something different?
No, not it wasn't like changed my whole outlook on music or anything, or made me cynical. I still just was like into playing the drums, so I just kept playing the drums.
Okay.
But it was a lesson that stuck with me. And I am aware of it now, like it's not just about being good at music.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be good at audience relationship. Even if you're playing jazz, which is, music people come to just sit and listen to, you can go to jazz shows where the playing is great, but there's no vibe with the audience. There's no connection. There's no interaction, engagement. And then you can go to shows where the musicians are totally engaged and it's really fun and you feel more connected to it. And I think that's a part of the experience that matters. And, rock stars, of course, get that. They totally understand that.
Yeah.
Like we had in Bandworks years ago, we had Billy Joe Armstrong's kid participate, because Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day lives here in Berkeley.
Okay.
And, it was kind of cool to see him do his thing, because not only was he a good guitar player, the kid, but he knew all the rock star moves, so he had, the legs spread wide on stage and the big over exaggerated strumming, and, he was really good on stage. It's like, oh, obviously he gets that from his father, right? Who taught him this. It's like, but you really could tell, like, oh, that's what a professional does. That's what a professional looks like, as opposed to just sitting on stage, playing all the right notes.
Did his energy and all of that affect the rest of the band?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think so. I would hope so. And
it made it more entertaining. The audience loved it, right?
Yeah.
I've had many experiences of that, like music good, but stage presence bad. And even conversely, stage presence amazing and music not so good.
Yeah.
And the stage presence carries the day. Like that's what people respond to, often.
Yeah. The producer's back.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm back.
Another successful delivery of the kid to school.
Yeah, but he forgot his hat.
Oh no.
And I almost had to take his hat back to him, but he said there was one that somebody left behind, like a kid that had graduated. So I didn't have to drive all the way back.
Yeah, our kids have waited so long to get their driver's license. It's like, what are you?
I know. I wanted my license when I was 12. I was like so ready.
So growing up in New York City, I didn't get mine until 18, which I was like the last person I knew who got a driver's license.
Oh wow!
But my parents didn't have a car, like, so it's not the same thing. But now I live in like kind of a suburb of San Francisco. And my kid didn't get his license till 18, and all kids are waiting and waiting. I'm like, God, everyone, Michelle, my wife, she's like, I had my license the day I could get it,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how we were too. It was like, man, this is like waiting for that little moment of independence.
Freedom. Right. Right. Well, now they have Uber,
Right.
Yeah.
Now, why is he not just Ubering back and forth?
Right.
Yeah.
Good grief. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He did have to Uber home once from something. I can't remember if it was when he was still working at the pizza place or if it was from school, but yeah, I just realized I'm like, gas is so expensive right now that I'm like, okay, I just put like $55 of gas in my car and I'm having to fill up every week just to drive him back and forth into work and everything.
Right.
Like, that's $240 a month.
Right. Just to get you to school. I thought school was free. Right.
Yeah. Jeez, I'm paying for it.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody's always paying for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you identify more as a performer or an educator?
Oh.
Great question. Both.
Okay.
Equally.
Kind of equal?
Yeah.
Same for me too. It's I love having a foot in both worlds. And I think it's important to have a foot in both worlds if you're a teacher.
Yeah, I agree.
Because even Peter Magadini, for example, I'm not sure if you know.
I do.
Yeah. So he lived here for a while and I became
He lived here too.
Oh, did
Yeah. He was like in the symphony there,
I think he's lived everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away at 80, I think.
I don't know. What's it been, a couple of years now?
Yeah. 3 or 4 years.
And so when real fast story on Peter is I got this random email from somebody one day that said, "Hi, I'm Peter Magadini, and I played for Diana Ross and Al Jarreau and all these things." I'm like, yeah. And it just seems so random, right, to get this email. And he said, "I'm in town, and one thing I like to do when I'm visiting a city is I like to find out who the drum teachers are and go meet with them."
Oh, I love that.
And he said, "You're the top listed one for Boise. Do you want to get together?"
Nice.
And so this was around Thanksgiving
of 2020. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like nobody really knew what each other was thinking with COVID or whatever. It's like everybody's putting their toe in the water, and I said, "Well, are you cool with meeting in person?" And he's like, "Yeah, I don't care about any of that stuff or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So he just came out and hung out in the studio for several hours, and we had a Domino's pizza.
Oh, great.
And
his wife kept messaging him like, "Aren't you coming back? We're supposed to be doing something." Like they were hanging out with his son.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "I'm not supposed to eat pizza. I'll have some pizza, but I'm supposed to be eating dinner with him, but I'm going to have some pizza." It was so funny. He kept trying to leave and then he wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just
we're talking about the drummer's connection, right? Like this,
yeah, that community of it. And so his son had moved here, and that's why he was here. And he lived in Chicago at the time, and ended up moving here, and we became fast friends. But it wasn't long that he was plugged in, playing jazz down at the clubs in downtown Boise, and he became the adjunct professor for drum set at Boise State University. And I thought it was really cool. Here's a guy in his late 70s who just immediately just dove right into the music scene. And my point being is drum teachers who continuously be involved or continue to be involved in playing music out, I think they have way more to offer than somebody that doesn't perform.
Yeah. I mean, I could see, if you get older and you're slowing down and you're kind of retiring from performing, you could still have a lot to offer as a teacher, but you've got the benefit of all those years of experience performing that you can still draw from and share with your students. But I do think it's important. There's so many of even in the book we were talking about, like so many of the lessons that I have to share are from my experiences performing, things that have helped me grow, not just as a player, but as a person.
Yeah. All of that stuff shapes us and molds us, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I had this question. I just answered it.
Whoops.
That's all right. Great. One last question.
Next.
So going back to your book, because this book was so great, and I read it while I was laid up on the couch and not walking. You have a lot of big hitter drummers with like great things to say about the book from Dom Famularo and David Garibaldi. What was the biggest benefit for you, Jeremy, in writing this book?
Um,
And what do you want people to get from this book? Now you're on the spot.
Let's see. The biggest benefit for me, I mean, those were all, I already had those stories. So it wasn't like I mean, I guess maybe just a way of thinking about them as sort of it felt like an accomplishment of like, okay, this is a legacy for me to leave something behind. You know, I do that in my lessons with what I teach and how I teach, and I hope that I have this meaningful impact on these students, you know, for their musical growth and path, and maybe even their life path when it goes really well.
Yeah.
And this was a way of me being able to leave some of that behind, not just for the students that I work with personally. And if I have some small impact on, you know, the way somebody teaches a lesson, or the way somebody takes a lesson, or the way somebody handles an audition, or the way somebody handles a setback in their career, musically or otherwise, then that feels like that was cool. I did something better for the world. I help improve people's lives in some small way. So that's what the book for me is about.
Mm-hmm.
And the second question was, I forget now.
What do you want people to get from it?
You know, there's, you might like take away, and people have told me this, like sometimes people will bring up different stories and say, oh, this one really resonated with me, or this one really left an impact on me. And that's a story that's now part of my narrative, you know, and how I think about when I approach auditions, or when I approach, you know, getting kicked out of the band, or whatever the story's about. And I say something in the beginning in the preface about like, hey, you know, whatever you get from this is great. You know, you may agree with some of it, you may disagree with some of it. If it helps you ask questions or think about things differently, then that's great. So that's kind of it. I mean, I don't have any agenda about what I want everybody to take away from the book, other than, hey, I hope this might offer you something that could be helpful to you.
Yeah. There was a lot of stories in here that resonated with me and that I could relate to, and or similar things that I've experienced too. And part of it made me feel like, as a reader, like I'm not the only one that's experienced some of these challenges.
Yeah. Right.
And it's a lot of books I'll read and I'll be like, that was a great book. On to the next one. This one I have not yet, but this is one when I finished reading it, I said, I'll probably read that again.
That's high praise, Fred. I really appreciate that. Bart likes to joke that he carries two books with him at all times, you know, the Bible and Finding the Groove.
Well, you can't go wrong with either one of those. So.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's it, man. I mean, that really means a lot to me, because that's what I hope, right? That there's something there that's of value to you, that maybe it's as a teacher, maybe it's as a player, maybe it's as a husband, maybe it's as a father, right? Yeah. Because there's lots of stuff in there about stories with my kid, and baseball and fishing. It's not just about, like, you know, Moby Dick and the whale kind of thing.
Right.
And that, you know, if there's stuff that you can come back to, because these are the things that I keep coming back to, you know, in my lessons and in my life, and things that have, you know, let me sort of take the greatest hits of my experiences and things that offer the most value in terms of life lessons, and put them in a book. Yeah.
I've got some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
You ready?
Go for it.
Okay. Feel or technique?
Feel.
Best advice received?
That's not a rapid fire question.
I don't know. ChatGPT told me that.
You know.
Jeez, Fred.
Stay true to yourself, maybe. Trust your instincts.
What do young drummers focus on too much?
The what instead of the how.
Yeah. I would agree. That would be my answer too. They're stuck in the spectacle of it, I think, sometimes. What do they not focus on enough? Well, I guess you just answered that, right?
The how.
How. These are sucky rapid fire questions.
No, they're good. They're good. We just covered a lot of it. Keep going.
What's the worst advice you've received?
Oh man.
There's probably a lot. I've received a lot of bad advice. Is it bad advice that you received, or maybe people telling you that you're just completely nuts and like, why would you ever do that?
Yeah, I remember there was another kid in college who told me I would never, make it as a professional drummer. That's not advice. That's just sort of, tearing you down.
Yeah, I've had a lot of that myself.
Yeah,
like when I decided to just dive in fully into being a full-time musician, to me, the risk of that was better than the miserable life of being a landscape contractor.
Yeah, right.
It was like, man, I cannot take this much longer. Like, life just sucks doing this. It wasn't just sucky all the time. I mean, there was some good moments for sure. And I was providing for my family, but I wanted to provide my family in a way that I felt completed. Like I was
more fulfilling.
Yeah, that I was doing what I was meant to do.
Right. That's it, man. And then listen, no judgment about if what you're meant to do is to be a plumber. Like that's all great.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Or a landscape architect, or whatever person. Like that.
Yeah.
If that's your calling and you love what you do and that's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
For us, it happened to turn out. So, I mean, we're so blessed and lucky that it turned out to be music.
Yeah. Where, Mary, you can help with this. Oh, maybe she can't. She just walked away. Where do we find this book, Jeremy?
Oh, the hard copy you can get on Amazon.
Okay.
And then the digital version is on Hudson Music.
Okay. Hudson Music or on Amazon. Finding the Groove. Look at that.
And if you end up getting it and reading it, I would love to hear your feedback. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly and send me your thoughts.
Mary, could you, so Jeremy said you could get this on Amazon, the hard copy.
Okay.
Or on Hudson Music, the digital version of it. Do you have a website, Jeremy, that you want to plug?
Yeah, it's jsteinkoler.com. Just the letter J, that's my first initial, and then my last name.com. And on there, there's links to everything. So there's my lessons, there's links to the book, videos with all the bands I play in, link to Bandworks, and kind of all my stuff, my gigs, my shows.
It's your portal to everything Jeremy Steinkoler.
Yep. And to
Can
death.
we put that in the comments, Mrs. Fisher?
Okay, I'm just still on Amazon here.
Oh.
Okay, so I found, did you say hardback? Because I found paperback.
Paperback, sorry.
Oh, okay.
The hard copy, or the physical.
Physical, yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, let's see.
And you can get the digital download from Hudson Music.
Right.
Do you have any
actually, there are, say again?
Do you have any other books?
I don't. But that is, I can't remember which version you have, but there has been a revision since then. So like, or at some point, not long, I think last year I came out with a sort of second version, updated, revised version of this. That's, has a handful of more essays and some editing stuff and, some more drummers in my list of favorite drummers and some more testimonials. So like Peter Erskine wrote a testimonial that I included, which was awesome. One of my heroes, and some other folks. So if you order it now, you'll get the latest copy, the latest version.
But nobody will have the autographed.
Yeah, that you have got something special, right? You have to know me.
That's how I roll.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know, I get their autograph. And if you're here in person, Jeremy, I'd have you sign the guest drumhead.
Oh yeah. Well, bring it to Deck Day.
It's a 36-inch drumhead.
Never mind.
So it'll stay here. It'll stay
make
here
it on the plane.
Well, Fred, thanks, and Mary, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. It's been super fun.
Yeah, Mary, you want to do your 12th fret music wrap up?
You betcha.
Okay. Whoa.
All righty. 12th fret music. I'm just flying.
It sounds like you're yelling into the mic
script. I don't have my script.
I'll help you out.
Okay. 12th fret music, where you can find vintage and new guitars and bass guitars and some drum heads and sticks now. Is that true?
Yeah.
And
So
maybe-
12th fret music,
yeah.
Jeremy, is by and large, it's the Pacific Northwest's largest collection of new, used, and vintage guitars and basses and amps and accessories.
Yes.
They are now
the home of the 64 Marshall cabinet wall.
Yes, the largest guitar amp in the world.
Uh-huh.
Right there.
Yeah.
And now they are stocking Aquarian drum heads
Cool.
and Vader
That's
drum
the best kind of drum heads.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Because
And-
Jeremy and I are both Aquarian artists.
Yes. Well, anyway, great staff down there. They'll help you
Yeah.
find something that you like, that works for you, that works for your budget, that fits your fingers, all that. They have an acoustic room. They have a high-end room
Yes.
where I walked in and was terrified and walked back out. I'm like, oh, that one's $10,000. Ouch.
Yeah, don't bump that with your purse.
I
lady.
know. Fortunately, I was like right in the center of the room. I had a safe path back out. But yeah, very nice guitars. I found one that I like, but it'll be a while unless they give me a job. It'll be a while for I can get
Yeah.
But yeah, go check them out. They are on Capitol Boulevard,
671 South Capitol Boulevard.
671 South Capitol
Yes.
Boulevard, next to FedEx, across from the Julie Davis Park and across River. I think it's River Street right there, isn't it? The side street
I think so.
from the library. So
Yeah.
really close to downtown. So yeah, great location.
Awesome. Jeremy, dude, thank you so much for getting up super early on the West Coast side.
Great excuse to get up early. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Great conversation, as I knew it would be. And Fred, we look forward to having you back on deck.
Yeah, well, I'll be on the deck show today, but Jeremy will not, Mary.
Oh,
Can you
you're
believe
filling in
that?
for Jeremy.
What the heck?
Yeah, he's subbing for me.
Aw.
Jeremy says he's a one-a-day podcast guy.
Wow.
He's like,
Yeah.
or maybe it's a once-a-week podcast guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Fred can talk all day.
And I will.
Yeah.
I'll be teaching till 9:00 tonight.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Long day.
Yeah. So that's the way it's working, and I love it. I love it. Jeremy,
All
thank
right.
you again, man.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We're gonna hit
Well-
end here in 1 second, and thanks everybody for joining us. I don't know what next week's topic's going to be, but I do have confirmed that on April 14th I will have my buddy Matt Starr on the
Ooh.
show
Cool.
right
Starr,
here.
yay.
Yeah, so that's going to be good stuff. So thanks for joining us, and you can watch all of these on YouTube, Facebook, and the audio will be up on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Jeremy.
Thanks, you guys.
See ya.